Hello, Commanders. This is Admiral, and we are starting the live stream now. Today we're going to go over station and outpost layout planning. We had a guy with us over here, that's Spar. He asked essentially, where do I want to build my second station? A very common question we hear from a lot of players. And I want to help you find the answer out for yourself. So we're doing a live stream. This is going to be a great opportunity for any new players or even old players to pose questions and to kind of understand the wisdom and the importance of planning out your outposts and stations as early as possible. To give you an idea, I planned out my first 6 to 11 stations before I even placed my first outpost. Now, you don't have to go that deep in if you don't want to, but it certainly helps because when you place an outpost, it affects your other outpost potential and station potential. So we're just gonna go over this for a little bit, and hopefully it'll answer some of all of your questions. So let's get started. And apparently my camera is down. So that's fine. I'm invisible Admiral for now. Let's go ahead and take a look. Right here we've got Spar's station. And we're going to just kind of theory craft based on his local area here. I'm going to take a screenshot because what we really want to do is mark up the map. Okay. So now here I'm using just a Snagit editor, but you can use any other kind of screenshot tool or photo editor for this. Um, this helps me. And we're going to start just marking up the map. So right now, we won't focus on his first station. We kind of want to look at the grand scheme of things. I like to focus on outpost placement first for tier 4 outposts. So that would be stuff like the Navy base, the habitation domes, and the mining colonies. You're really going to want to familiarize yourselves with the base radius for each of those outposts, as well as the optional radiuses with the correct cards on the station slots. And I'll go into more detail on that and why that's good to know when we start doing our layout planning here. So we'll start with the tier 4 outposts. So we have the Navy base, we've got the habitation domes, and we've got the mining colony. Okay, so and we also have stations. Okay, so when I'm going to start my plan, I'm going to say, let's say mining colony is most effective when it's touching 2 planets or within a radius of two planets. So base radius of mining colony is 1, so which is why we're touching these 2 planets here. But there's a card that will allow you to increase your radius of your mining colony to 2, which means you could potentially have a mining colony here and still hit both planets. And also, with the right company built up in your station, you could also harvest these resource fields. So this wouldn't be a bad spot for mining colony. Over here, I wouldn't really want to build up anything, the company that increases the mining colony's ability to, I should say, I wouldn't want to use the company that allows mining colonies to mine resource fields here, because at radius 2, if you use the card as well, you only get 60 resource points here, so that's not great. But it is good if you intend on building a company for like industrial and domain company, right? So still not bad. Same thing here. This one's okay. You could probably get by right here, and with the what is it, militaristic company. What's the name of that? Let's see here. Ooh, how do I show you without giving away my station stuff? I don't know. Hmm. Okay, well, let's just go back to this. Just take a look at the companies and you'll understand what I'm saying. In the militaristic companies, If you have a mining colony, it's going to give you resources from mining fields. It's going to be nice. But yeah, so this might be a good one for a 539 uh, building. What is it? Station for buildings. We're going to go ahead and put another mining colony, let's say here. This also can hit some resource fields here, as well as both of the planets. So right off the bat, you can see like, okay, I've got 4 mining colonies. What about stations? I gotta have stations, right? So we might consider maybe moving this mining colony. Well, we'll keep this one here. We'll move this one here. And this is what I'm talking about planning. So this mining colony can hit 1, 2, 3 fields as well as both planets when it's carded right. So that's not bad. So, okay. But that does change things. And I'll tell you why. I kind of want my station to be on this side. All my stations to be on this side. Uh, because here's what I'm going to do. We'll start with the habitation domes. So the habitation domes give you labor. If you don't know what it is, take a look at the outpost. The way it works is it gives labor to all stations within a radius of 3, and you can card that for 4. That's incredibly powerful if you utilize it correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and plan out my habitation dome layout, and I'm going to plan out my station placement around that. Oh, hello. Feel free to ask me any question you want. Okay, well, okay. Well, yeah, that does suck. Um, yeah. Thank you for that. So here we go. That looks right to me. Um, so the idea is, why don't we go put this right here, maybe? So the idea is you want a habitation domes in a setup similar to this. Um, Ideally, actually, we want something better than that, where there's 6 blank hexes in this 7. So we're gonna let's see. I had it earlier. I think this is it. Maybe we're gonna go here, here, here. There we go. So you're aiming for essentially 6 blank hexes in of the 7 option. There are some very rare areas on this map where you can actually get 7 blank hexes, and that's going to be the strongest for labor production. But majority of the time, you're going to go something like this, and then we'll put our Navy base in the middle. So the habitation dome has a radius of 3, right? The base of 3. So check this out. When we start placing our stations, we're going to want to surround the habitation domes with the stations. And we only need 5 of these and 1 for Navy base. So we got 3, 4, let's go with 5, and then 6. So you got your 5 habitation dome stations and 1 Navy base station. Okay. Um, so when you look at a specific habitation dome, the base radius is 3. So each one of your stations here are benefiting from each habitation dome. So to give you an idea of what that looks like, and Snuggums, I don't know if you can want to correct me here. The tooltip still says 150 labor per level per station, but if we're going based off of the tooltip, it's 150 labor per level per station. So 150, let's assume your habitation domes are level 5. That's 750 labor per station, right? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stations. And if you card these stations for an increase of radius to your habitation dome, you're going to have 1, 2 stations right here. So that's what? 8, 7? 1, 2, 3, 4. And your Navy base station too. Um, that's 5, 6. Can't do math, guys. 8 stations, right? So 750 per habitation dome times 8 stations. That's 6,000 labor per habitation dome. We've got 5 habitation domes times 5. That's 30,000 labor, gentlemen. And that's just raw, just from those domes. We're not including basic labor production. We're not including any other efficiency buildings out there. So that's what makes this layout really powerful. And the Navy base, this is also clutch. Look at this. We're gonna build. Let's say we have 4 mining colonies, so we need 2 more stations, 3 more stations. So we'll go and we can try to focus on placement here a little better. But for now, let's see here. This isn't bad. Maybe we can place this station. Yeah, maybe here. Um, and so now what we have is 4. What is that? 4 industrial stations. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 habitation domes and 1 Navy base. That's what, your next 10 stations, maybe, guys? But look, your habitation domes, 1, 2, 3, if carded, 4 will hit both of these. So we might actually move this here, okay? And that way, we look from the furthest habitation dome, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. All of these stations are going to be affected by every habitation dome. So now we're going to run that math. How many stations do we have, guys? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 stations. So 750, right? That's maxed out habitation dome times 11 stations. That's 8,250 labor per habitation dome times 5 habitation domes. 41,000 labor. Look at that. And that's, again, not even including mining fields from mining outposts for the fields and the planets and the mining colonies. It's not including basic production or any efficiency multipliers. So you can see really like how far you can go with this kind of layout. And that's why I try to look for areas, the best would be 6 habitation domes in this kind of order with a Navy base in the middle. But usually you're going to go find 5, and that's not bad either. We use the Navy base. Now check this out. Navy base, the base radius is 3. So if we card it right, we can actually boost that to 4. So this one Navy base will protect 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's essentially going to protect every single one of our stations, including our starter station, and all of our outposts. So you're getting attacked, just send your fleets here, and you only need 1 Navy base. So there is that's kind of why we do this. Um, and then from here, this is kind of like your starting set, right? And then all you got to do is just focus on something like your Stargate. Okay, well I know the station that needs to have my Navy base. I got to select from one of these, right? Let's say I select this one. Okay, so I know that I need to have a Stargate to going to the station that has my Navy base. Deployments are very important. So I might choose to put a Stargate here to affect my starting. I'll have my starting station build that so I get early benefit, and then my Navy base station will also benefit on that shared Stargate. I could actually also put it here, which wouldn't be a bad idea. Oh, and that's another thing. You can also put another station right here. So well, let's just say for now we put in a Stargate here. Although it wouldn't be a bad place for another station. I might put my first station, my mining colony, I might put that here to hit both of these planets. So now we got our Stargate. I only need one, so I'm making the most efficiency. You can have another Stargate like somewhere around here and card it if you want to just ship resources faster. But for this, the purposes of this tutorial and my personal preferences, I'm only going to build one Stargate up. Now let's look at Commerce Hub. So we've got four, maybe five industrial stations. So we're going to probably have five commerce hubs, but we may not level all of them. We may choose to maximize only specific ones. And the ones that you will max level, note that you're not going to go for that company, the Goober. You're not really going to benefit from the Goober National company because was it Goober National? Um, because you're either going to card for increased mining colony radius or you're going to card for increased commerce hub radius. So it's a trade-off you have to decide there. But let's say we're gonna have let's say we're not going to worry about the increased radius on these mining colonies. That means all of our commerce hubs are going to have that increased radius card. So I might go. I'm looking for 6 resource fields within a 2 hex radius for each uh, commerce hub. So let's see, 1, 2, no, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's not bad. 6, 7 or greater is the preference. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's not bad, but 7 would be the preference. So I might build this one. I might even card for it, but I probably wouldn't level it up all the way to 5. And again, I haven't put too much thought into this video exactly. This is very rough planning. I mean, I spent like 10 hours devising my plan while the server was down. Um, so yeah, I mean, you really want to it's kind of plan it out. 1, 2, 3, and you also have to keep in mind which station is going to build the commerce hub. Is it within the claim radius at level 4 station? I need water. Whew. All right, so uh, let's say for this station, this isn't a bad spot for a commerce hub. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's not bad. And you're going to want to look around, honestly. Um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 seems to be our average here. If you can find one better, great, go for it. But let's just say for the sake of simplicity, we're going with something like this for our commerce hubs. Okay? Now, we've got mining fields and fortresses and missile batteries. You have to decide on what's most important for you. If you really want to turtle up, you might prioritize fortresses next. You might prioritize missile batteries after that. Or if you want to be able to stay in the running with resources, you might prioritize mining facilities next. So from there, you have to decide. And what really helps is if you label. God, whew. It really helps if you label each station. So this is station 1. You got, let's say, station 2, station 3. Let's go station 4, station 5, and so on and so forth. Okay, and then you're going to label your colonies. So it's like we'll say, okay, we want mining colony 2 here, mining colony 3 here, mining colony 4, and mining colony 5. And then we're going to do, okay, so now station 5, probably is the best to build their commerce hub here. So that'll be commerce hub 5. Now we'll go like, let's see, station. Ooh, so this is definitely going to be commerce hub 4. See, we have to be careful of our range. You might realize that the commerce hub here can't be built because it's too far away from any station. Unless you're a Machiavellian player, then you have some amazing options. But let's go ahead and say that's from this station. This is going to be commerce hub 3. Nope, actually I'm going to make that 2. And then this one's going to be 3. Anyone have any questions so far? No? Okay. So we've got our commerce hubs. We're going to focus on mining facilities. Let's say, yeah, this will be mining facility 2. And the station can have 2 mining facilities, 3 with mining cabal. So that's your decision. I might just go with 2 here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. It's not great. Yeah, I can do that. What's that? Yes. Should be. Yeah, it is. No, you can ask any question you want. It's a Q&A. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, so Snookums actually taught me this method of looking at the map. Let's go ahead and take a look in game. So the 60 resource fields, count that as 1 point. 120 is 2. Hold on, water. There goes my career as a live streamer. 120 is 2 points. 180, let's see, where's 180? There. 180 is 3 points. So when I look at a mining facility, right, okay, I know with the right card, I can have a radius of 2 on my mining facility. So I might look here, right? Actually, I might look here, maybe. 1, 2, 3. If I'm here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's pretty good. 11 is I don't think I've ever seen a 12 point area, but 11 is extremely strong. Um, I'd say aim for 10. 10 is what I would consider ideal. 9 points would be, okay. I probably wouldn't level it up with diamond nanorods, but 11, that's amazing. Also, look at this place for the commerce hub. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is an even better spot for a commerce hub. At radius 2, you're hitting 8 fields. That's 1.6 prestige per hour per level. So I might put my commerce hub here, even though it would be an amazing spot for a mining field. What is it? Mining facility. Uh, so let's look, here. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's not bad. You could probably get away with a mining facility there. Let's go over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's another 8 right there. Let's go right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So yeah, I might put a mining facility here. You know, nine is good. 10 is ideal. 10 is ideal, and 11 is amazing. But if it's 11, you may find yourself wanting to put a commerce hub down first. Any questions? Cool. All right, let's go back. All right, so we'll color code these. And this is what I mean by marking up the map in my tutorial. This is going to help you a lot. But keep in mind, if you've got allies around you, communication is key. If you build your second station here, and the other guy builds his second station here, that can kind of ruin your plans. Also, if you start just building your outposts without planning out, you may not be able to build this setup. So it's really nice and important to have like a great plan in place. So, with this so far, we're talking about 40,000 plus labor. We're talking about 4 mining colonies at least. We're talking about, your starting station being protected, and all of it protected by a navy base. You got stargates at least affecting the 2 stations that are most important, your starting and your navy base station. You might consider, building another navy base somewhere to protect the rest of your outposts or stations, for supplementary defenses. So, keep going from here. Figure out where you're going to place the rest of your mining facilities. We saw over somewhere around here that there was some amazing spots, right? I think the Commerce Hub, mining colony station 4. So we'll move this one. I think this was the amazing spot for the Commerce Hub. And then we may move these mining facilities 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I can't do that. It's not going to be station 2, it can be station 3. Wow, it's awfully quiet here, guys. You can do for mine, um, a really long time while the servers were down. Yeah, we had a day practically where the servers were down, and I planned out, you know, dude, this is just a quick draft. I mean, I'm not even looking at this, full efficiency on all my placements, but just right off the bat, I can tell kind of a gist of what I'm looking for. Um, and so the really hard part comes really when you're starting to place your mining facilities and your missile batteries and your fortresses. There's going to be a lot of sacrifice there. Like, okay, you can tell I'm really running out of slots. Um, you know, I might want, a fortress, so at least some fortress defense, and I can card that station for a radius of 3 maybe. See, I can't do it here. I wouldn't hit these stations. So I might not card this fortress. I might build a fortress here. That's not bad. Radius of 3, 1, 2, 3, or I say 1, 2, 3. So I'd protect all 5 of 6 of these stations with one fortress. That's to me, that's a great deal. I'll take it. Um, Overwhelming offense, but honestly, I would, if I saw this on an enemy, and I know this is counterproductive, but I would probably look for easier targets first. Um, I would tell that this person probably has their stuff together, and that with the help of a couple allies, they could probably repel my defenses very easily. But if it was absolutely integral that we take this cluster of stations out, um, I would use spy reports to identify what kind of fleets are there, what kind of a defense presence that this player or his allies have. I might decide I want to try sabotaging. So, looking at this, like this Navy base is not going to cover this mining facility. So, I might try to identify, let's go shape. I might try to identify what the Navy base isn't covering. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's not covering this. It's not covering this. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, this. Go ahead. Right. 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 And it really does depend on the makeup of the defensive ships. If they have, sorry, if they have thousands, thousands of, oh God, take over, Snuggums. Uh, yeah, I am choking on a frog right now. So if they have thousands of patrol ships and dreadnoughts, then you may go the sabotage route. But if they're light on sabotage defense, you might sabotage first. But let's say they have a shit ton of missile batteries, a shit ton of fortresses, and a ton of scouts, but they're a little light on the defenses. You might actually initiate with your hammer, wipe out those scouts, and then sabotage, or and then sabotage the fortresses, and then use your gunships to take out one pivotal station, which would probably be the Navy base station. After that, it's the beginning of the end for this player. Yeah, exactly. So after that, and because of that, you may consider maybe I want to have a station for a second Navy base for a supplemental protection, insurance. So, I mean, no layout is impossible to crack. All you can really do is try to deter people from attacking you, and if they do attack you, make it extremely painful for them by proper outpost layouts as well as the defense of from your alliance members. Several defensive players stacking ships on one station will whelp any offensive fleet rather easily. So, this is a little bit of a turtle strategy, and it works, but it is not infallible. So, um, yeah, I mean, if I was looking at a player, I'd really not want to attack this player, or if it's really important, I take them out. You know, taking out their sabotaging their habitation dome to make their fleets ineffective, then hitting their fleets to wipe them out would be a good starting position. Then I would need probably several Machiavellian players to sabotage all the fortresses and hopefully one shot the Navy base station. And then from there, you know, each station is essentially on on their own, and then you can really start to utilize fake attacks on all of the stations so that the enemy doesn't know which station you're going to attack, and if they even have any fleets left. And then you can just start taking out stations one by one by one. Probably starting with the habitation dome. I might consider taking out the stations that have the capital ship assembly and the heavy ship assembly. And that's another good point. You're going to want a capital ship assembly. You're going to want a capital ship assembly probably within the radius of your navy base. And you're going to want a heavy ship assembly probably within the range of your navy base to protect them from sabotage. Because Snookums will come at you while you're asleep and sabotage these just to get a laugh. Um, so what better way than to surprise him with a defensive scout fleet, right? Right. And those ships are expensive. Yeah. So anyone have any questions? Well, so it depends on how you card. Mining facilities base radius is 1. So when I look at a spot, I look at, 1 hex. Okay, here would be a good spot for a mining facility where the station is not carded for an additional hex. That's not bad. 5 points. The best I've seen is I think 6 or 7 points. Um, but when for radius of 1 or 2. Wow, that's amazing. Uh, go into general and post those coordinates so people can take a look. I am, and that's a good point. Honestly, with the changes to the game, I think labor's become much more important. Um, habitation domes, obviously, as we saw, are a much stronger factor. And so you're really going to want to save up your titanium rods for those and your diamond nano rods for those. Um, which means your mining colonies might not be more than level 3 or even 2 or 1 for that matter. Um, and what that means is you're not going to have a high passive resource production, so you may rely on raiding for your resources or solar flares or whatnot. There's definitely it's a hard decision, with commodities the way they are. It's a hard decision to make where that balance is between labor and passive resource production. Um, if you want to have the biggest, strongest fleets, you're going to suffer for passive resource production. That's a guarantee. Um, and so that's a personal decision for you. What's more important. Um, sorry, go ahead. Yeah. Well, for a hardcore player who's on the game all the time and can utilize their fleets and keep sending them back out within a relatively short period of time, that is true. But for the guy who wants to wake up once in the morning, set his queue, wake up maybe, or log in once at lunch and once at before they go to sleep, 3 times a day, passive production might be more efficient for them. Uh, Also, if everyone went labor and everyone, decided to spec for rating, well, there might be too much competition for rating, and so same thing with solar flares, and so passive production then becomes more valuable. So I mean, it's a lot of personal, yeah. There's many play styles. There's a lot of personal preference here. If I want, I really enjoyed the game, but I didn't want to dedicate so much time to it. I might focus on more mining colonies, maybe not as much labor. Maybe I might have a little bit of labor. Maybe, instead of 5 habitation domes, maybe I might have 5 habitation domes, but their levels are only like level 2 or 3, and my mining colonies are stronger. Um, and then, I may use that labor to build up defensive ships and support my alliance by just parking my ships where they're needed. Alliance station. Dyson sphere. Um, you know, so it really is a personal preference with regards to that. And yeah, I mean, to recap, when I look at this, I know mining facilities base radius is 1. With the right card, you can make it a radius of 2. So I typically look at, okay, 1, 2, 1, 2 points here for 120, 1 point here for 60. So it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 points isn't great. Um, we saw 10 earlier, right? So this one was 11. That's amazing. Yeah. Oh, and one other thing, guys. Snowgum's brought this up. Your capital station, your basic labor production can go up to level 20 on your capital station. So, that 40,000, honestly, I feel like that's easier to get for the habitation domes, but you're limited by your titanium rods. So your secondary option would be to level up your capital station's basic labor production to help with your fleets. Really maximize. And here's another thing: when you're deciding, okay, how many levels in habitation dome do I want, right? Um, I'm not going to share my policies with you guys. Well, yeah, I'll share it. Sure, fine, it's fine. Um, Oh, I can't. Too bad. I'm not going to spoil my station stuff. But if you look at the policies for both the imperialistic and for the militaristic players, there's a policy path that can essentially, for a corvette or a patrol fleet, depending on your policy path, at a max level fleet and with all the points in place, you can have a fleet of 1,500 ships in one fleet. I really like that policy path because it makes you more efficient with regards to your prestige. You don't need to card as many fleets with epics or legendaries. And so it saves you on prestige. And I really do love that path. It's one of my top favorites. But a fleet of 1,500, you need to have enough labor in one station to cover 1,500 labor. And that's, God forbid, um, we're not even talking about supply. Um, you may want to card your habitation dome stations with increased supply range. For the imperialistic players, that's extremely important. Not so much for the militaristic players. Um, labor penalty can really suffer. So you may want, let's say, as a safe buffer, you may want 2,000 labor, right, per station for per fleet. So, we saw earlier that each habitation dome was giving 8,000 resources, but you have to look at, 8,000 labor, but you have to look at, you really need to hit those thresholds. Every 1,500 is a fleet. Every 1,500 is a fleet. Doesn't matter if you're at 2,999 labor. Well, in that case, you can use your logistics and sacrifice some of your resources to get you over that. But the thresholds are 1,500. You want to try to hit those 1,500 thresholds to really maximize on utilizing your labor. Otherwise, you will have extra, um, and if you have extra, that just means you can deploy in farther distances, and they won't be affected by labor penalty. Again, labor penalty is your worst enemy here. Uh, Now I'm going to blow your minds away, guys. Click on your inventory button and look at the legendary card. What was the name? Snugums, do you remember? The labor one. Used to give us bonuses on. Yeah, Xeno. Is that still gives labor, right? Yeah, so look at the Xeno card. Legendary character lasts 7 days. Gives once you apply it to a station, it essentially acts as a habitation dome, like level 1 or level 2, I think. Um, it gives an additional bonus labor to all stations within a larger radius. And so, with even a couple of those, you can see how the effects are just multiplied immensely. Um, Between those characters and between these habitation domes, you will not suffer for labor. Yeah, thanks. Anyone else have any other questions? I'm an extreme guy. Yeah. Right. Exactly. And that's the thing, in this game, in combat, the bigger fleets generally win and lose less ships. So the more fleets you have and the better tactics you have applied to them and the more hit points that you have, the more firepower. If you can the goal is to take out your enemy in one alpha strike. So when you participate in combat, combat occurs over, is it 3 rounds now, Snugums? So it goes over 3 rounds. If you can wipe out all of your enemy's ships in round one, and your cards on your fleets are carded for hit points, both in the hull and hardpoint slot, that is the most ideal situation. Well, the most ideal situation is sabotaging their labor, so they're affected by the labor penalty. So they are 10. Their effectiveness is reduced to 10%. Okay, that's the ideal situation. But if you're gonna go one on one with a guy and he's got some defensive fleets, ideally, if you know there's a big battle coming, you're going to want to wipe out the enemy in the first round to protect as many of your ships as possible from being destroyed. If they have just as many ships as you, it's going to be a slugfest. You're both going to be completely whelping your fleets. The defender may still probably win by a small margin. Um, and that might be fine for your other alliances to come in after you. See, and that's the thing with militaristic players. Expect to whelp your fleets, but don't just throw them away. It, you know, it's a long time to recover. And yes, as you gain more stations, you can recover more quickly. But certain ships like the destroyer, the carrier, unless you're being provided ships by other teammates, imperialistic players or Mackie players, they take a long time to build. So try to avoid the big fights unless it's extremely necessary. Or if you're gonna go for a big fight, utilize your Mackie players, spy out the enemy stations, find out which players you think are going to help assist in defense, and then spy out their stations. Look where their habitation domes are. Look where their labor is coming from, and then coordinate your sabotages on all of those habitation domes. Try to hit them all with labor penalty. Send fake attacks to all of the alliance members' stations so that they're like, "I'm sorry, I can't help you. I got to defend my own." Oh shit, it was a fake attack. You know what I mean? And now your hammer is coming in, with trying to minimize as many defenses as possible um, to wipe out defenses. So the militaristic players have the advantage of deciding where the battle is going to take place and when it's going to take place. The defensive player has the advantage of bringing in other alliance members to completely annihilate the hammer. It really is a game of chess here. And the best way to win in combat is through having the right information. For this reason, ironically, I mean, I wouldn't say the Mackie policy is the least popular, but it certainly is the most important. Information is king in this game, guys. And in order to really utilize your Mackie players, you do need a high level of coordination. You guys need to be able to schedule all of your sabotages to land at the same time right before your hammer lands, or your hammer might land first to wipe out all the defending scouts, and then your sabotage lands, and then your gunships land. You may decide to send some fake attacks first. You know, it's such a game of cat and mouse. Like there may be. Go ahead. Exactly. Exactly. And guys, what I'm telling you is only basic strategy, PvP strategy in this game. There are so many other ways. Go ahead. What's up? Oh yeah, we're in the middle of a live stream right now going over a station layout planning, and now we've kind of migrated to PvP strategy. Yeah. Good evening. So does anyone have any questions? Oh yeah, what I was saying was that's just the tip of the iceberg with regards to strategy in PvP. There are so many other tactics you guys I haven't even told you guys about, and you're gonna really want to take the time to ask some of the vets around here, or Bug Snuggums. Just constantly PM him as much as possible when he's sleeping, when he's working. Ask him for tips on PvP. He'll tell you to attack Admiral. Thanks to this live stream. um, and think twice before attacking a dev or a veteran. Not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm just saying, we know a lot of the, not all, but a lot of the tactics that can be used. Um, yeah, join Singularity, join Singularity. No, 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 but well, like last pretest, some of our returning players they weren't familiar with sabotage, and they attacked Gretier, the CEO, and he just made quick work of them, and he completely annihilated their gunships. Now, your gunships are in my opinion, your most vital asset in the game. You want to make sure those gunships can come in, do damage, and get out without ever seeing a defensive ship at all. If you lose gunships more than maybe a small handful, then you're doing something wrong. And the worst case scenario, you have a coordinated strike. The defenders call your bluff. They figure out where you're going to attack, and they stack defenses. Your hammer gets wiped out. The following gunships get wiped out. The sabotages get wiped out. Your teeth are effectively cut off for a very long time. Um, Building gunships take time, and you're going to need a lot of them. And in order to minimize and reduce risk to your gunships, you really want to focus on trying to take out that station as quickly as possible. And so you have to ask yourself, what can you do that, to get that done? Any questions, guys? Yeah, I think we'll end the podcast here. That was fun. I hope it helps a lot of people in this coming alpha.